Do you think HR's role involves only recruitment? Then you're completely mistaken. I have with me Mrs. Sangeetha Ravishankar, a seasoned HR professional who is going to take us through the entire realm of HR process. Come, join me. Hello Sangeetha, welcome to my show, The Next Step.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited. It's an amazing concept, so I'm very excited to be here.
Thank you. All right, let's get straight to the point.
Sure.
So please take us through your journey from being a HR professional to heading a bigger HR team in a big MNC today.
Sure. I think let me start with saying, I'll tell you a little bit more about myself, right? So when I was studying and I was in my 11th, by 11th, I thought I should be a doctor, and I started taking science, and I was really bad at it. And by 12th, my mom said, I don't think this is going to work out for you, and I think you should look at something based on my nature, according to my mom. Maybe people management, business management is good and you should start doing. So I just wanted to take this moment to say that sometimes when we are choosing the path of what we want to do, it's very important to know what we would like versus what people think we should be doing and all. I was the only kid who didn't do engineering at that time.
Okay.
To now me managing about 5,000 engineers, right? So it's still okay. It's still okay to be not doing that. And I chose the path of doing business management. So I took Bachelor of Business Management, and then I did my MBA in HR. That is where I understood what HR is and what we can do in human resource management. And then I fell in love with that whole stream.
Okay.
I've been a singer, and that was always like a hobby, and this ended up being a very passionate profession that I wanted to pursue. So I joined. So what happens is, at least when I passed out, there were 0 placements. I was the topper of my college in my course, but I didn't get a single placement. At that time, it was, I think, 3 years after 9/11, I think nobody wanted to hire HR people, I think, looks like. And that is a little bit difficult placements sometimes. But then I joined into recruitment on contract with Infosys. That's how I started my journey. Usually in HR streams, the first opportunity to get is into recruitment, which is good. I think I'll talk about it a little later, but then it's always good to start with recruitment and then pursue other streams within HR.
Perfect.
So I started off as a recruiter, and then I moved as a compensation benefits specialist in Infosys. Then I went to McAfee for some time, then went back to Infosys, and then I moved to Mindtree. Mindtree also I joined as part of the recruitment team, and then moved into core HR and business partner, HR business partner, and other things. From there on, I think I grew for about 8 years. I was with Mindtree. I learned some of my best of all best practices, and what I am today is because of what all I've learned from all the companies I've worked with.
So Sangeetha, tell me, what are the various subdomains within HR? Which do you think is more interesting or more challenging?
So like many 90% of people always think there is only recruitment and HR people only hire and they don't do anything else, but that's not true.
Okay.
There are many subdivisions in HR. There is, so let's take it like a journey from when you enter the company till you exit the company. Each of the steps that a person goes through in the company are the subdomains of HR.
Okay.
So be it recruitment, which is talent acquisition, you start the interview, the decision of hiring the right talent, scouting for the right talent, and then hiring. Recruitment, within recruitment itself, you have division of lateral recruitment, fresher recruitment. There are sub teams under that itself. And then there is orientation. When the new joiner joins, the induction, orientation, and the complete shared services that they do, which is right from onboarding, getting their documents in place, uploading on the team, giving them the first 1 week of taking care of them, and then moving into projects. There is workforce management. In some companies, workforce management is part of the delivery team, where you actually decide which person goes to which project based on what talent. If this person cannot fit into this role, what are the other 3 other roles that they have? Then identifying what training needs they need, and then there is a training and development. We call it now learning and development, because training is very one-way focused now. It's all about learning, and you can learn 360 degree, right? So there is learning and development department, which focuses on upskilling, cross-skilling, reskilling, just not unlearning,
Unlearning.
not just unlearning, but then relearning a lot and
Right.
cross training. So there is one, that is one more subdomain. And then there is, okay, after you do the work for the entire year, your performance needs to be assessed.
Right.
So there is performance management itself is
That's
a
great
very
domain.
serious, important domain that's gone through so many changes and again come back to the old style of doing it.
Okay.
But then there are various ways of doing that as well. And then we move into after performance management, there is compensation and benefits. How well and how creatively we can compensate the employees, right? That is one more subdomain. And then you come towards exit management. There is exit management itself.
Okay.
Is
That's another domain.
yes, and
Okay.
the whole there is one team that ties the entire journey. They are called the HR business partners, or they are
Okay.
called the people experience team. It's very well known now. Everyone calls them as people partners. Who is in charge? The core HR team, which does people experience, is in charge from right from after they join till the exit, the experience of the journey of the employee, to keep them happy, to keep them motivated.
Right.
The targets for HR people are retention of top talent, attrition should be at the lowest, exit experience also should be good, otherwise the brand will be impacted, not just the entry experience, even the exit. Then the performance is evaluated properly, they are compensated properly. So all these aspects by itself are sub teams in HR.
All right.
A very long answer, but HR is big domain.
Right. Okay. Oftentimes, people wonder what exactly is the role of a HR person. Because what I've heard from people is, from the employees rather, is HR have the most cushy and non-pressurizing jobs. So what is your take on this? What exactly goes behind this?
And also all those jokes of what does HR do? My own cousins, my own friends who are engineers, they always like, oh, you don't do anything. That's because you don't see the groundwork that happens. Right. And I just spoke to you about the different subdomains, right? Each of those subdomains, people specialize for years. There will be that much work. So what HR do is basically, in one or two liners for everyone, is that everything about people management is HR's responsibility. It's project manager takes care of the people, okay, but it is more of the delivery of the projects in front. People is not in front. But the one who coaches the managers how to take care of people is HR.
Right.
So the reason HR role won't be like seen unless it's recruitment or probably at the exit level or anything. The work that people in HR do contributes to the actual work of what every employee does in the organization, right? It is like the backbone, it is like the spine. It is, without that, you won't see your spine, but without that, you're not able to stand. Right. So I want to say that to everyone, that HR is the most important work that people do. Right. So let me take an example, right? When we're doing training, what the employee will ultimately see is going through a training program. But before that, there is like at least about a 1 month or 2 months of preparation that happens with the learning and development team. So they assess what are the needs. They assess what is the need in the market. Then the project manager or some of the delivery leaders will talk saying that this is what we need, these are the skills. And then they start building a curriculum around it, understanding what level of practical knowledge is required, what level of theoretical knowledge is required, how effective can we make the training, and then identify who are the trainers, train the trainers in some time, and then build that whole program and then show it to the project managers and the leaders saying that will this fit what you are expecting, because it's all about, so whatever they do in HR, sometimes it's all about making a huge change. Like an employee has to learn a new skill. It's not very easy. Right. It's not something that you can learn in one day and do tomorrow. Then you don't actually need HR's help, right? Right. Right. I'm just taking one example and saying ultimately after that 1.5 months of that groundwork that happens, which day in and day out they are working on, right? They would take a break and they would be in cafeteria having coffee. Doesn't mean that's what they do. They do all of this which you wouldn't see. But ultimately what an employee would end up seeing is that they are going through a very, very well-developed, handcrafted program for them that will help them reach that new skill much before or much better than anyone else. So it's all about the quality of the deliverables that you would see. Okay. That is why it is very difficult for anyone to understand what they do. Even in recruitment, it's not about seeing a resume and just picking up the phone, talking to someone and then making an offer letter. It's not about that. It's about a lot of things, identifying what are the kind of skills that we need for that role, having discussions. I've had recruitment leaders having weeks of discussions to talk about what is that exact kind of a person and personality sometimes and skills that we need for a certain role. There are many times where we've helped, the HR has actually helped the project managers decide what kind of people you need. And then performance management, we take an entire year to do performance management. The last 2 weeks we've released, in my company, we've released some 2,500 performance appraisal letter. None of my team members slept through for the last 3-4 days. That's the kind of work. But what does the employee see? The employee sees the letter. Right. And then say, oh, HR gave me a smaller hike. But that's not what it is. Every hike percentage defined is a big exercise by itself. Right? And when we work closely with the project managers and the leaders, the BU leaders, the CEOs. We present a strategy for the year, how to retain our top talent people, what are the different programs we can do. You will not, like every employee might not know everything that the HR does, but they know that if the HR doesn't come to office for a day, none of those works will happen.
Right. Okay.
Right? Cut out the jokes of HR. Right?
Right. As a HR head of your company, how do you ensure employee retention and employee engagement? In other words, how do you train your team to focus on keeping up the employee satisfaction?
It's been tough after COVID because before that we were all in office, and HR is all about connecting with people, understanding the pulse, and then we would know by end of the day. Just walk into the cafeteria, you would see unhappy faces, especially after the appraisal letters are released. Right. You would know who's happy, who's not happy, and you would know what feedback to give to the leaders and all that. But and also there's one more challenge is that we have 5 different generations that are working in the workplace today, be it from the Gen X to the millennials who are already old now. It is the Gen Z who's come into, and each one's motivation factors are different. Each generation's need and drives at work is different. Right. And HR and employee satisfaction engagement is not about having those Rangoli competitions. Believe me, none of the HR are interested to do that either. And I don't think it is working in the virtual world. Right. What we do and what I would always tell my team is that we have to keep that pulse channel open. We should be talking to the employees. And when we get feedback, and that is what we do a lot well in our company, is that we listen to the employees. When there are certain feedbacks given, so we have those anonymous feedback channels, and we have this employee engagement survey that we do. We don't even want, at least in my company, Qualitest, for us, it is not just about satisfaction. You cannot satisfy every employee because each one's needs are different. Correct. What we do is we ensure that the engagement factor of the employee is high. They are aligned, they are happy, they are learning. By end of every quarter, have I learned a new skill? Have I attended 2-3 sessions with my leader so that I'm inspired? So these are the different activities that we ensure we do, so that we see that the employee is engaged. So as long as you're engaged with your organization, with your leaders, and you know you're doing something worthwhile for you, right, be it at work. See, sometimes some projects are good, some projects are not very good. Sometimes it's a mundane task, sometimes it's a very interesting task. But across all the factors, if I give my feedback and it's been accepted, and many initiatives in our company, we brought it in because the employee voiced for it. There was, for example, they were saying that, I'm not able to save my tax because of the way we had structured the compensation. We reworked on the entire compensation structure to ensure all the tax elements are brought in, tax-friendly elements are brought in, and gave the choice to the employees, saying you choose where you want to do. If you want to choose HRA, you put it there. Otherwise, it's okay. Use that money, put somewhere else. We even help with that national pension scheme comes. So that's the government one. Actually, it's a very good one. Right. So people don't know about it. When you use the word pension, and when 3 generations who don't even care about it are working, they won't want to invest in it. But no other scheme gives that much of returns as per the pension scheme. So then we brought in awareness sessions to tell them why it is important, and then we have about 10-15% of people actually interested who are from Gen Z. Imagine Gen Z wanting to invest in a pension scheme, and the India's pension scheme is very good. So these are the things that makes them know that the company is interested in investing in them. Company likes to see if they're happy working with us. So those are the engagement factors as HR we are going to focus on. It's very, very different from what you would have learned in your MBA. It's very, very different, and you cannot create events, and it's not about the fun parties anymore. Fun party is just a network which is essential, which is important. Everyone should come together. But what we do to retain employees, what we do to keep the employees engaged is different things. And the most important of it is listening to them.
So, Sangeetha, tell me, how does your day look like, and how do you balance your work life?
Okay. So my day is typically a very, very long day because of the time zones that we work for, right? There are early morning meetings with the US or late night meetings with UK or Israel. So we spread across. So my day, there's never a typical predictable day. Let's start with that. And I work from home for a few days. I go to office twice or thrice a week. So and my office is very far from home. So I have to plan, my entire day starts very early if I'm going to office, or a little later if I'm at home, kind of a thing. And I have 2 boys. It is a very, very noisy household. So my day starts with ensuring the kids are in school. But of course, I run a very, very outsourced model. Maybe I'm not the best example to talk about being a completely hands-on mom. I'm not. I'm a completely hands-off mom. I have realized that when you're working with a very responsible role where I have to travel, like I have 4 different centers in India and I have to travel every month to Noida, Hyderabad, Chennai and back in Bangalore.
Okay.
So when this is the kind of work styles that we have, it's very difficult to be there to do everything for the children or for the family. So I have chosen the path of having a very outsourced model where I have help who come across different time zones, like how I work. I have help in different time zones. I have cooks who come in the morning, in the evening. So everything is done because, like you said, like you asked me, right? Work-life balance. I don't have it.
Okay.
And I am not the best example of someone who will say that there is quality life and quality work.
Okay.
I have been able to focus on, I've been very ambitious, very aspiring, very, 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 very annoyingly, very career focused, very annoyingly career focused. And I've been blessed with a family who completely understood that. Be it my boys or be it my husband, who's completely from a different industry. He's an actor, so he's from the movie industry, who could have had a lot of demanding, who could have put a lot of pressurizing, demanding situations in front of me, but never had.
Okay.
So I think that helped. And work-life balance, when I say work-life balance, I don't balance it.
Okay.
What I do is work is always there in my life. So that even my children say that it is about her laptop. It is all about, everyone respects the laptop. Everyone knows that when it is work for Sangeetha, nobody troubles.
Okay.
But then my entire family has helped me in a way, like my kids, my brother will come and take the kids somewhere instead of me.
Okay.
My husband takes them shopping, which is the worst decision because they shop more than me.
Okay.
So I would rather not have them do that, but then I can't because I'm working. So I have an entire, and like how people say, it takes a village to bring up a child, right? Yeah. I have that village in my family. Everyone's involved. Okay. And I also ask help, and that's one thing I want to call out, especially for aspiring working moms. You cannot do it all alone.
Right.
There is something called superwoman, and it is called a superwoman syndrome, which means it's a disease that you want to please everyone and want to do everything. We can't.
Right.
Let's choose what is priority. So what I do is my work is priority. Right. And then some fun moments with my children is also a priority.
Right.
So if I get some time, I wouldn't be cooking. For me, cooking is not, it's just another chore. There are people who are very inspired about cooking and it de-stresses them. It adds a lot of anxiety to me, so I don't cook. Okay. So I have people who cook, so that time I spend with my kids. Yeah. So when I'm watching, we are all interested in animation movies, so we watch it together. So those 2 hours I don't work.
You spend quality time with your kids.
I spend. So whatever time I spend with my children, I have decided that is quality time because I don't know what is quality time. When everyone says quality time, I don't know what it means. But these are options that I have chosen, and I think I've been blessed with a family who's understood that.
So tell us about your common and specific challenges you have in your workplace.
Well, challenges for HR has become as I was saying before, right? The virtual environment, the hybrid work model has made it very difficult for HR to understand people. The needs and what drives people have also been different. As I said, there were so many different generations of people who are working today in workplace. Right. So it's very difficult to understand what are the people needs because everything that we do is around what the people need. So that is a major challenge, and I think many HR are actually stuck in the past and think that this is how it was done before, and 10 years before my boss did it, so I think I should also do it. But then the whole world has moved on, right? I said, if you just do a fun event and party, would employees really make even give it even two woods to what it is all about? They don't. They're virtually sitting at home. During pandemic, HR was so unprepared during pandemic. We were never trained to handle a health calamity like that ever. No HR was trained in the whole world. Right? These were the challenges. If there is another calamity like that, can we be prepared? What are the proactive things that we could do? I think that was that continues to be a very difficult HR challenge. And then retaining people. What made people quit? Like it was a bloodbath in 2022 and 2021 after the pandemic, right? And everyone left without. Everyone left the organizations. Just it was even called quiet quitting. The term was called quiet quitting because nobody had the reason. They just felt that they needed to go out. These were the challenges that HR couldn't devise different ways of, or even identify what is it that I could make that employees stick today. Earlier it was very easy because in that generation getting a job was a big thing. And I was very thankful, very grateful that I have a job. Was a generation like our parents' generation would actually tell us that. And that's not how it is now. So these are the specific challenges that HR faces in the workplace to identify, understand what other people needs, right? Because all our policies, processes, everything has to fit towards that. And another challenge that I've noticed is how to stay ahead of the curve as compared to all organizations and the brilliant benefits that everyone's bringing into their organization, the creative ways of making people, like even I heard there are parenting leaves we've all heard of, maternity, paternity. But had you heard of pet parenting leaves?
Oh, really?
They've given, if you adopt a dog, you are given leaves. I'm like, what more should we focus on in terms of benefits? And I think staying ahead of this curve and competing with big organizations that can afford to give benefits differently as compared to probably a very structured service-oriented organization, some of the ones which we are part of, and ensuring we are staying ahead of that curve for giving benefits is also a very big challenge that HR are facing.
Okay, all right. Okay, what do you think makes a good HR person?
Well, I have many traits of a good HR person. A very solid people orientation is a must. And when I say people orientation, many people think, I've heard many people say that, I like being HR because I like talking to people. It's not about talking to people. And not all people who talk to people become HR, right? I've seen some of the best introvert HR leaders who've done brilliantly well. When I say people orientation, it is that instinct of understanding people. When you're talking to someone, you're also understanding what are you saying, what are you not saying, what are those nuances about the work, whether you like it, you're not liking it, what is troubling you, how can I coach? It's all about being that coach and understanding what people are actually saying, what they want. And that understanding is the core skill of HR. And you can be a technical person, you can be an HR person, you can be anyone, but if you have that people orientation, you will be able to do very well in HR. And not many people will actually say that. They think extroverted, social, happy-going people are HR people, self-motivated. It's not about that. It's about how you understand people. And then equally important is understanding the business and what people practices you can apply to help business. The most successful HR leaders are the ones who've understood how they can contribute towards the growth of the business.
Okay.
And that business orientation is very important for a HR professional, which you will not hear many people saying that, because people think that if I am not good technically and if I don't want to code, if I want to go to HR, that should not be, because in HR, if you don't understand the business of what the people are doing, you cannot understand what the people are saying, right? So that is extremely important.
Do you use AI-based tools in your HR unit?
Yes, of course, with so much of technological interventions, and that we are working day in and day out with very good engineers, and with the need of making that entire workplace and work environment easy
Okay.
for people. Yes, many automated tools are used by HR, be it the HR information system where I upload my leave, I get my auto sanctions, and all of that is at one click of a button. Everything is made easy for the employee,
Okay.
right? And those interventions are very much helpful. We also have AI based tools that will tell us which employee is probably a little more disengaged, what is the pulsometer of the person, who is more likely to quit as compared to the others. So all these indicatives are there. But in HR, all these tools and this AI based assessments, all of this helps us to some extent, right? And beyond that, the human intervention based on which the whole of philosophy of HR is based on can't be skipped. Like these tools can't replace HR. Like many people say, oh, will HR have a job in 2040 or I mean, HR will have a job throughout. It's going to be more and more complicated. It's not going to be easy. Like in the HR 2 decades back, we're filing papers
Right.
and taking signatures on the form. Right? Today's HR is not doing that. Today you have systems to do all of those.
Documents.
But today's HR is more advanced. They're thinking of strategies to make people be better, nurture them, do better, help them learn much better. So the kind of work that HR do is more quality work now. That is how it will move into. And even the managers and everyone else can't always rely saying that these technical tools is going to replace everything, because what magic human intervention can do for motivation and inspiration, which is what you need to do the work well, can never be automated.
Okay, Sangeetha, we have heard your challenges in your workplace, and you've spoken at length about your work-life balance. But despite that, tell me, how satisfied are you with your work on a scale of 1 to 10?
11.
Oh, wow.
So why I say that I'm very satisfied, I'm very happy and I'm very satisfied with the work, because for HR professionals, see, it's always on the job training. You never have too much theory to learn and then come into HR. Like it's not like a skill that you can acquire.
Right.
It's over the time. You need opportunities where you can practice good HR. You need opportunities where you can do strategies which will impact people, and you need opportunities where your talent can be shown in terms of people management, in terms of overall HR. And I think I've been very lucky and very blessed to have got those opportunities that made me grow all through.
Okay.
Even now, I mean, it could be that sometimes I've even worked for 18 hours. Like I said, last 3 days we've not even slept.
Okay.
But then all said and done, am I not happy about it? I'm extremely happy about it, because see, for example, I had never been part of an acquisition of an organization. In the last 3 years, my company ended up acquiring 6 different companies, and I've been part of it. And now today I can do anything related to an acquisition or a merger.
Right.
So easy. And people take decades to get that experience. And I had it in 2 years. So this is what contributes to the satisfaction meter. That's why I said I went to beyond 10, because there's a lot of learning that happened.
Perfect.
I'm happy.
So that was Mrs. Sangeetha Ravishankar giving us a lot of insights about the HR process and all the aspects associated with this profession. So I'll catch you in my next episode with another interesting profession. Until then, let your work give you satisfaction, because satisfaction is success.